Hello, good evening, everyone. So today we are going to do the revision for week 1 and 2. So I would, since so many of you in the chat, I would say if you have any questions in between, you can raise your hand and then you can tell your doubt.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Um, yes, tell me.
Sorry for late, ma'am. Did we start?
No, we have not started. I'm just giving the instruction. We are just starting.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with week 1. Uh, So the topics that we have in week 1 is we'll discuss both the questions and the concepts. So first, let me go through the concepts, and then we will take we'll do some questions also. So in week 1, the topics that we have is first thing is what is statistics, right? Then types of statistics. Then in the type, you also talk about, okay, we'll go there later. Then we talk about the data collection. There we talk about structured and unstructured data, types of data, and then we talk about cases and variables. Okay. Basically the data set. Then types of data, and after types of data, we look at the scales of measurement. So these are the major topics that we have in week 1. So the first, okay, so first we'll go one by one. Okay. So the first thing is what is statistics? So as you would have seen in the lecture, like statistics is the art of learning of data, where you collect the data, you describe your data, you do some analysis on data, and on the basis of the analysis, you draw some conclusion out of it, right? So that is how we have defined statistics as. And now statistics have been categorized into two parts. So one is descriptive statistics, and other is inferential statistics, right? Inferential statistics. So what is descriptive statistics? So let's say, as we said, like we are more concerned in statistics is about collecting the data, analyzing the data, describing the data, and so on, right? So when the primary purpose of doing the statistics is more around describing and summarizing the data, right? So when your concern is more around describing and summarizing the data. Then such type of statistics, we call it as descriptive statistics. So what do we mean by describing or summarizing the data, right? So for now, like as of now, you would have seen the content till week 4, I would say. So in like you would have seen a table or a frequency table or data set. There are more concerned on like looking at this data set and getting to know, okay, which has the highest frequency, or which category has the highest frequency, or what is the mean of this particular data set, what is the median, what is the mode, how does the graph look like, how can we present this data in a better way, right? All such things you would have seen so far, right? So such kind of statistics is what we call as descriptive statistics. Then the next come is what we call as inferential statistics. So this is more around like analyzing the data and drawing conclusion from the data, right? So inferential statistics is more around drawing conclusions from the data. So what is mean by like drawing conclusions from the data? Um, so this you would, for now in the statistics 1 course, you will not see the inferential statistics part, but you will build up slowly towards that direction. That will start from the probability. So as you go to week 5 onwards, you will step into the probability part, and as you go to stats 2, you will learn more on what is called as inferential statistics. There you are not summarizing the data. There what you are doing is whatever information has been given, from there you are trying to analyze something or draw some conclusions from the data. Okay, so such kind of study is what we call as inferential study. Any questions so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
No, ma'am.
all right. So next we have next is what we call as population and sample. So I'll just write it here itself. So population and sample. So population is all the collection of all the data or collection of everything that you are interested in analyzing or you're interested in summarizing. Okay, so all such collection is what you call as population. So population is the total collection um, of elements in which you are interested in which you are interested. And similarly, what is sample? So sample is something that you take from the population, like or you can say a subset of the population, right? So let's say you have this as population, you have some population. Let's say this population is what we are calling as all the students of class 10 of a particular school. So let's say that is our population, and I can take just a small sample from there, or a sample from there. Let's say not sigma. So a sample from there which contains the students, uh, like which is just a subset of this population, but the sample should be taken in such a way that uh, the characteristic that the population has, the sample should also satisfy. And you should sample the, I mean, you should take the sample in a random way. I mean, there should be no bias associated with it. So the sample should be taken always randomly, and your sample should also have the same properties that your population has. Okay. So these are the two things that you has to always keep in mind when you are talking about like when you are taking a sample. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, so just write here subset of population.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Is it necessary to sample to be good representative of population?
Is it good to?
Is it necessary to sample be a good representative of population?
Yes. So sample should be a good representative of the population, and it should be done randomly.
So if the sample is not a
Ma'am,
good
but not always now.
sample is not a
Yeah,
sample.
not always. I mean, the different ways of sampling, we are not going to study the sampling method here. But for now, what you should just know is that whatever sample you choose, that should be a representative of your population.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, in the weekly mock, one question was there, I mean, of
Okay.
sample and population,
What is
about the
that question?
students. Students who are taking a sample of 5 states of
Okay.
North India
Okay.
and the population in that. So I have a doubt in that.
Uh,
The sample and population, in that population, the option is given that all the states of India are taken, not only of the North. If you can just check the question.
Hold on. This is weekly mock 1-2.
Yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
this question is right. Because the question this is given that all states
Can
this
someone paste the question in the chat? That would be
Yes,
easier.
ma'am. This is- Yes, ma'am. I pasted it.
Okay. Okay. So the question says, a teacher asked students in a class to do a project. The goal of the project is to find the proportion of the specific chemical containment in water of different states of India. Okay. A student, Ramya, did a survey on the randomly selected 5 states of North India and gave a report to the teacher, identify the sample and the population. Okay, so why the sample is not a good representative of the population here is, the teacher who gave the project, she wants students to find out what is the proportion of some chemical containment in water of different states. I mean, she's talking about all the states of uh, India, right? She's not saying that you should do it from the North India, the states of the North India. So when the goal is to find out the this chemical containment in the water of different states. You cannot just take a sample from just 5 states of North India and uh, do your analysis, right? Because that way you are biasing. This is more like a bias. You are not representing the whole state and coming up to a conclusion. You are just uh, the way you have taken a sample is wrong there. So the question, let me look at the option. The sample consists of all the states of India and the population consists of 5 states of India. That is wrong. Option B, which says the sample consists of all the states of North India and the population consists of all the states of India. So this seems to be right because this is how the student has taken the sample. Then the third is the sample consists of 5 states of India, or okay, it mentioned consists of all the states. So B option is also wrong. Now, going back to the third option, it says the sample consists of the 5 states of India and the population consists of all the states of North India. So this seems to be right because, sorry, again, this is wrong because population is different. Fourth is the sample consists of 5 selected states of North India and the population consists of all the states of India. So D option is correct. So why is D option correct here? So
Because the teacher had already asked the students to check the water contamination in different states of India. So that's the
correct.
population. But
Yes.
whatever Ramya selected, that's the portion she's studying in detail. So that's the
Yes.
sample.
Correct. So that is why option D is right. I mean, sample consists of the sample that Ramya has taken is the 5 selected states of North India, and the population that was that should be taken into consideration was all the states of India. Right. So option D is correct.
Ma'am, that only one this doubt. I mean, like the C option won't be coming anywhere close because 5
No,
states.
why is because population is all the states of North India, right? I mean, the teacher has asked not to do this test or analysis from the states of North India. I mean, the population here is all the states of India, right?
Yes,
So
population is all the states.
the way the sample should have been taken is, I mean, maybe some reasons from almost every part of India she should have taken into consideration for the sample. But the way the sample is collected is wrong. So even though this is a sample, I mean, this is what the sample has been taken, but this sample is not a representative of the population.
Yeah, the sample is not representative of population. So
Hmm.
the C option also makes sense, right? I mean, the
No, because the
population,
population there is wrong, no?
yeah, population is wrong.
Population is wrong. So that's why option C is incorrect and option D is correct. Okay,
Okay, okay.
all right. Let's move to the next topic. Hmm?
Is it necessary for sample to be a good representative of population always?
Yes. Like whenever you're doing some analysis, see, you're not going to deal with the inferential statistics in this course, okay? So for
But
now, what you need to know regarding the sample is like whenever you're doing a sampling, your sample should always be a good representative of the population. This is what you
um,
should take care. I mean, there are different ways, different sampling techniques, but we are not going into that for now. You just have to know that, okay, the whatever sample has been taken, you should take care that it is a good representative of the population.
Ma'am, one more doubt. Here it is not good representation of
Mm.
population, right? In this
Correct,
question.
correct. Ah,
So we are not the definition of sample over here is not playing the part, right? Because the sample of few selected states of India would have been correct over here, right? But only the north part has been taken,
yes,
not the
right.
east, not the
Yeah.
south, not the
So
west.
yeah, the way the sampling has to be done there is like, let's say, um, throughout throughout India, you pick few reasons randomly and
Yeah.
uh, in a way that it represents almost the whole India. That would have been a better
Yes,
representative.
ma'am. That's why the option C over here, if you see, That
Option
fits.
C, what is wrong there is population. Population is not just the states of North India. It's the whole, all the states from India. This is what it should have
Yeah,
been.
but the sample consists of all the 5 states of India.
Option D is correct because they just want us to summarize what what the sample like in question. Just they want us to summarize it. Like they don't want us to tell us the right sample or wrong sample. They just want us to summarize the what is the sample or what is the
Yes,
uh,
correct.
population in the question.
Okay, even if the sample is not a good representing of the data, then
Yes,
also if the population is right, then we can go with that answer.
yes, yes.
Okay.
It just what is asked in the question is like when whatever context has been given, just identify what the sample has been taken and what the population is there.
Okay.
All right.
Ma'am, does this come under inferential statistics?
Yes, it comes under the inferential statistics.
Uh, but sample is not good representative of population.
Yeah, that is a different question altogether. Don't worry much about inferential statistics part for now. You're not going to study this in stats one. Focus more on descriptive statistics.
Yeah, but
Ma'am, please move ahead.
we'll get some
Yeah,
questions to identify whether it's
yeah, you
inferential
might
or
get some question because you have studied the definition, you have studied what you do in inferential statistics and what the population is, what the sample is. So definitely you might get some questions from there. But what I'm saying is this is all you need to know regarding what is inferential statistics, what is population, what is sample. That is all for now. Okay. So let's move to the next topic now. I've spent quite a long time here. Okay. Um, Now let's go to the next topic. So we have now the data collection. So when, okay. So usually when we collect the data, right? So we should know like what all it means. I mean, what is the significance of, these numbers or whatever um, you have collected for the data, right? So what does it mean? What are the context of everything? So this data set, whatever data you collect, should be structured in a way like so that you are able to extract some information out of it. So that is why like we prepare a data set like for all the data that you collect, and that way our data is organized, right? So there when you make a data set, right? So there are few things that you will come across. So one is, let's say this is my table. So the first thing is cases. So cases, this is also called as observations. This is also called as observations. So what is cases? So this is that entity from which the data has been collected. Say, for example, I am collecting the data from some people, or let's say, let's take the school example itself. So let's say I'm collecting the data of students in a particular class. So I'm collecting the data for these students, right? So these students should become our cases or observations. Okay. So let's say I can call it as, let's say, student 1, student 2, student 3, and so on. So it will go on. So this is the cases. So cases is basically an entity for which you have collected the data. Then the next is what we call as variable. So what all you have collected for that student? Let's say I'm collecting the data for students. let's say I collected what are their roll numbers. Let's say I collected what are their marks in a particular subject. Let's say I collected what are their blood groups, and so on. Okay. So these are the information that we are collecting for the students. Now, for each of these students, student 1, student 2, student 3, and so on, like you have collected the roll number, marks, and blood groups. So they will be, they will differ for each of these students, correct? So a student will have some roll number, they will have some marks, have some blood group, and so on. You will collect for each and every student. So you can see that this roll number, this marks, and the blood groups in the second, third, and fourth column, they vary for each student. So they are called as variables. So the way variable is defined like something that varies, right? So they are called as variables. So these are the data that you have collected for these students, right? And also you should take care that these each of the rows, so like this all this are cases, okay? So like whenever you get a table and it is specified, okay, for we are collecting the data for this, so those become the cases. And for each of the variable you record the same type of value. Let's say let's make another column, or make, let's say, kg, not kg, weight. What is the weight, or let's say height, anything you can put. So we cannot say that that student 1 I am putting 30 kg, or student 2 I put in grams, so maybe 30,000 grams. We cannot do that. I mean, you should maintain the unit, right? So if you're collecting the data in kg, maintain the kg. If you're collecting the data in meters, maintain that unit of meter in the data set. Let's say if you're collecting the data in liters, maintain that, right? So all that has to be taken care when you are writing your data set. Okay. Then next we have next what we study is like types of data. So any data that you take, so data you divide into, one is categorical, another is numerical. So categorical, and next is numerical. All right. So what is categorical data? So categorical data, you also call it as qualitative data. So this is also called as qualitative, and numerical can also be called as quantitative. So in categorical data, what you do is you just I mean, the way you can think of it as something, the data which is not numerical in nature. Okay. So something which does not gives any numerical interpretation to it. Like in the numerical data, what you will get? You will get more like what is the like marks of a student, weight, height. All these are numerical values, right? So all these comes under the numerical data. But things like let's say blood group, then gender, I mean, these are also the data that you have collected, but they are, they don't have any numerical significance to it. They mostly identifies the group membership is what we call. So categorical data mostly identifies the group membership. So what we are saying is, okay, the student one, it belongs to this group. Um, this group as in like we can like if we're talking about blood group, you can make different blood groups, right? And each student you can check and put into different each of the group they belong in. Gender again you can put it into different groups and see where the student belong in, right? So uh, this basically denotes the identify the group membership, but the numerical data, like they will have the numerical properties. They will have the numerical properties. So when we call, when we say numerical properties, I mean, you should be, the numbers that are given, you should be able to add, you should be able to subtract, you should do any mathematical operation that can be done on the numerical, I mean, any numbers, right? So it should satisfy the numerical properties and it should have some measurement unit also. It can have, it cannot have, it's okay. But it's not like that in categorical data, you can only have categories like blood group, gender, and so on. You can also have the categories that looks like a number, but they don't have any numerical properties to it. For example, pin code. Like pin code always looks like a number. I mean, it will be more like this, right? So let's say these two are the pin codes. They look like numbers. I mean, if it is given just as this, anyone will say, okay, this is a number. But when you know that these numbers represent the pin code, then you know that it doesn't have any numerical properties to it. This is just um like this is just one category. Okay. Yeah, again, rating like good, bad, excellent, all that. They rating when you take 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, anything. Yeah. So those are also number, but they, I mean, you cannot perform any mathematical operations on it. So this is the
Ma'am,
difference between category. Yeah, tell me.
ma'am, in the table,
Hmm.
can you please scroll up?
Hmm.
Yeah, here if another column is added, like say
Okay.
locality,
Okay.
then the data will be unstructured and the units
Um,
will not be defined. So in that case, will it be a variable or not?
I mean, why will it be unstructured?
Because
You are adding just a locality.
locality,
Like, okay, student one stays in some, I mean, some address one you can put. Some address two you can put, and so on. You're just going to put the address for, I mean, in or it's more like that it's not in a particular format, as the roll number will have some, it will have some specific format. Marks will look something um similar. I mean, each of them will have something, but the locality, when you look at locality, I mean, each addresses will have I mean, it can be anything random. It depends on how students are putting the address. If you specify the address also, okay, this address should be put into this format, then still it's fine.
like if the address is same for
No, no, I'm not
few
saying
students,
address. I'm not saying address same. I'm just saying if the format, let's say the format I maintain is house number, street name, locality name, state, district, and so on. If we specify all this, then this looks structured, no?
But address format may differ for different
Yeah, it
address.
will differ. It will differ. I mean, unless we specify that, okay, this is how we want to maintain the address. Otherwise, anyone can put any address. I mean, any address as in any format they want the address to be in, right?
Yeah, but the
Then in a way
locality
that
may,
becomes
yeah,
unstructured in that case.
yeah. Sometimes no, the locality may be same for few students also, like Chennai, like that. If we consider, will it be
Right.
variable?
No, it will still be variable. See,
Mhm.
if you look at, forget this, you look at blood group. You look at blood group, okay? So, I mean, many students can have the same blood group, no?
Yeah,
Yeah. B
yeah.
positive, let's say second student also a B positive. I mean, it is okay. But still, this whole blood group or this whole marks or this whole weight, anything, or this locality, everything is varying, right? I mean, this is a variable. I mean, it is okay for one or two student or more than that student to have the same value to a variable, uh, but um, it will be called as variable only. I mean, blood group is a variable, marks is a variable, roll number is a variable, weight is a variable, locality is a variable.
Ma'am, what if all
Mhm.
the students have the same variables like blood group or height?
I mean, if you think of it, it is not possible to have something, the data like that, no?
Ma'am, locality may be same if we take the data
Okay,
of
what do you want to, like, what is the question here?
Ma'am,
Is there
question is
some,
that key um, where we have the variable that varies or variable is not vary.
tell me, what do you, um, okay, you would have studied things like this in, maybe when, if you would have done maths in class 10, 11th or 12th. So let's say any mathematical equations, when you solve, you take a general x, right? I mean, and we call it as x is a variable, and you solve for that equation. What do you understand by, like, when you say variable, what do you understand by variable?
And the variable that varies, the changes for
Not huh,
particular cases.
anything that varies, right? That is a variation, right? I mean, anything that varies is what we are calling as variable. So if you look at the table, so for every student, I mean student 1, student 2, I mean for each of them, the roll number, marks, blood groups, weight, locality, all of it is varying, right?
Basically, in a
Because
variable, some of the observations can be the same, but not all.
yeah, I mean, yeah, even if some are same, still it is a variable.
It will have a tendency to vary. I mean, in
Yes,
this
correct.
table,
Hmm.
if I have to put the species,
Hmm.
if we are calculating data for students, then the species is always the Homo sapiens. Because we are calculating for the humans.
Correct.
So then species will not a variable, but here blood group. If all the blood groups are same, still it has a tendency to vary.
Yes, correct. Any new data any new cases you add in, and it is possible that it may be different for, I mean, each of these roll number marks, each of these variables, the values may be different.
Ma'am,
That's
I have
correct.
out like if we have additional comment that the
particular student has made on some social media, and that is also included in the column.
Hmm.
By now, I think that we cannot say what kind of value this comment is varying. So
Hmm.
even if we are including that comment in this table, then I think we should not consider it a variable.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
we should ideally not consider it as a variable.
Okay. So in
Hmm.
that case, will we consider this complete table that also has a comment, a complete structured data? Because it still
Yeah,
has
it
a
will be.
column.
Yeah.
It will be okay.
Yeah.
And
It just
one
that. Tell me.
and another query is like roll number. Sometimes roll number is encoded.
Okay.
Like it shows that what before some universities encode the roll number which has your branch, your this
Hmm.
year of admission and so on information. So in that case, this order in the roll number is of importance. But sometimes
Hmm.
roll numbers are randomly allotted.
Correct. Yeah.
So in that case, it will become nominal, and in the another case, it will
Yeah.
become ordinal.
Yeah, it will depend, like how the data has been collected. That will depend,
Yeah,
definitely.
okay. But in one question, as I remember, but it was not mentioned that what type of roll number is it. So it was a bit confusing. Uh,
Okay. Where
okay.
was that question?
Ma'am, it was in some week 1 or week 2. I exactly don't remember,
It should be week 1, I guess.
uh, I
Now
just wanted to
IT
confirm
till
based on this context.
1.3 activity.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Good
Hmm.
evening. Ma'am,
Yes.
I have a question. Ma'am, in numerical collection of data,
Hmm.
qualitative,
Hmm.
what is the
Quantitative,
role of,
you mean?
sorry,
Huh.
quantitative, what is the role of height? I mean, we can add it, but it does not offer us some value or anything like that.
Um, I mean, what you're saying, what is the significance of these numbers, is it?
No, ma'am. Only for height, like marks can be added,
Hmm.
age can be added, income can be added. That can show a lot of things. But
Hmm.
for ma'am height, I don't think so. It does not matter for numerical collection of data.
See, what you can do, like height, weight, all that comes into the continuous data, right?
Hmm.
So, um, there, the plotting, I mean, the histogram is what you can see. Like, what is the distribution of weights? What is the distribution of heights of students, right?
Okay,
So,
ma'am.
all these distributions can be seen using these numerical data. You will study all that, maybe in further courses, but
Is population also part of the continuous numerical concept?
no, population is in itself a different. A population is what it's anything that you are interested in doing.
No,
That's what.
population of India for that matter.
No, there the question was just for you to identify what is the sample and what is the population in that question. No, I mean
No, we have one
that's all.
question in the quiz where it asks the population growth they have given in a table, and it's asking that is this variable continuous numerical variable or what it is?
Oh, can you post the question here?
Yeah, I'll just copy it and then paste it.
Okay.
I also have the same doubt with the two collective quotients
Hmm.
of the same query.
Actually, it is. The table has to be given for to make it
Ma'am,
understandable.
I sent the table and I
Yeah,
also sent the two question
options,
5
right?
and question 6. Yeah.
Okay. Wait. Let me see the table.
It is saying that population growth rate. What type?
Growth rate.
One question is what type of variable is population growth rate, and what type of scale it is following.
The data of 5 districts of various states of India was collected and shown. The government used this. Okay. Fine. The first question is what kind of data is population growth? So population growth is 17.1%, 25.34%. So this is a like looking at it, you can say this is a numerical data, right?
But is
Yes.
it continuous?
Yeah, that's a question. So
Yeah.
again, yeah. So what do you understand by a discrete data or a continuous data and a continuous data?
This data.
Continuous data has a
This will be continuous,
UOM.
I believe, because
Hmm.
discrete is countable and continuous is measurable. So you measure the population growth, you don't count it.
Correct.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
as time
that's a
goes by,
correct explanation.
the things become
Mm,
like when
mm.
you age. For example, a population of a boy, sorry,
Hmm.
for an example, a boy, uh, it is in 2021, he was 16, in 2023, he ages. So, ma'am, that can be counted?
Can you repeat?
Like, ma'am, for example, a boy in 2021 was 16 years, and in
Okay.
2023, he ages. So, ma'am, that can be counted in continuous data?
Um,
It's
Wait.
more of a discrete because age is usually noted in years, not in the fraction that he has. Usually, we don't do calculations with how much portion of year he has got. Usually by year we do, so it's like discrete
Discrete.
numerical variable.
Hmm.
But
Because
it's
hmm.
in this question, the population growth is clearly numerical, but
Huh.
it has mentioned that it's since 2001. So means baseline has also been fixed.
I mean, yeah, baseline has been fixed. You want to know the growth of the population since 2001.
Yeah, so baseline has also been fixed.
Ah,
So it
great.
means that it has absolute zero also.
It has absolute zero also. Um,
Because baseline has fixed. If baseline was not fixed, then we will not be certain. But because it's saying since
no,
2001,
no, baseline is fixed. That is true, but this is not the absolute zero for you, right?
no, it's not absolute zero. But if the
Hmm.
baseline, I'm saying that for this particular year, then that is a universal truth thing, na?
Hmm.
No,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you are trying
well,
to see it from 2001.
yeah, because
Hmm.
baseline is fixed, this becomes a ratio scale. If I would have mentioned just population growth with
Hmm.
something, so someone would have calculated a different absolute zero. So definitely at that time it would not have been absolute zero, whatever different people would have said.
Hmm.
But since I have fixed the baseline, that implies that if someone is else is also going to calculate, going to get the same result despite anyone calculating. So it's like I am having absolute means absolute zero also.
Yeah, I mean, that is true actually. So, I mean, from there, you can subtract each of the year and you can have the numbers again in 0, 1, 2, and so on, and you can work on that data.
Yeah, so remember what
Mm.
Even if the
that
baseline is not fixed,
Mm.
say for instance, if even if the baseline is not fixed, then also we can have population growth as zero, right? Over last year and this year, the population growth would be zero. So I don't
Mm.
understand what baseline has to do with this one.
no,
Excuse me, ma'am.
uh,
In,
I said
excuse me, ma'am.
because what
Later.
my zero might be someone else for someone else it might not be the same zero.
No,
So
no, but
that
what I'm saying is when once the data is collected, last year to this year, the growth has 0 years, right? 0%, right? So that means there is no growth, right? The population actually stayed static.
hmm.
So that means that it has an absolute zero, that it cannot go negative. It can be zero. At the least, it can be zero, right?
Oh, no,
No, population growth can be negative.
If there is a
Population.
demise of a certain section of a population, then that would be counted as a negative population growth.
Let's say if 10 people take birth and 11 people dies, so it's a minus in population growth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if 11 people takes birth and 10 dies, it's a plus growth. Okay. And if 10 people dies and 10 people takes birth per year, and this is a, like zero, like population is not growing and neither declining, right? But it does have population growth is zero, but we cannot like say we cannot convert it into ratio. Basically, the population growth zero doesn't mean there is the absence of population growth. But it is not absent. It is just zero. It is neither
Okay.
increasing nor declining.
Mhm.
But it is not absent.
Right.
In means absolute zero for it exists for this particular question. So it should be ratio scale.
No, it will be interval because
I,
population growth zero doesn't mean it is like population growth parameter is absent.
no, no one says that it's absent. Absolute zero is mean zero is a relative term to the what
No, no. When you
previous.
talk about the ratio scale, the zero is absolute zero. I mean, at that zero, nothing exists. Okay. So that is what we say, understand when we call absolute zero.
But
So,
ma'am,
ma'am,
in
will this be interval
But
scale
ma'am,
or
we
ratio
cannot
scale?
consider it as an interval scale also because some values might be like 1 unit distance, some might be 0.5 distance.
No, this should, this
13.9.
question here, right? This question, the question that was posted,
Yeah,
that will have the interval scale and not the ratio scale.
ma'am, population growth might be sometimes it might lead us to an irrational number also.
And that is okay. I mean, but still, it's a real number. I mean,
No, it's a real number, but in a sense, this interval is not fixed between each of the observation of this population growth. For intervals, it has to be interval scale. The distance should also be fixed between consecutive entries. But if
no, I mean, as long as you are able to do um, the addition and subtraction operation in the data, you have the data follows the interval scale of measurement.
excuse me, ma'am. In for ratio scale, we need to multiply and divide. We able to multiply and divide. In interval, we not able to multiply and divide. So as we say, uh, population growth is 25%, and somewhere places population growth is 50%. So we able to say like it's two times of the like 25%. So we able to multiply and divide in population growth. So how it will become like interval scale? Hello?
Um, Wait, what did you say in the starting?
Like yeah, basic rule of ordinal, sorry, basic
Mm,
rule of interval
interval.
or and a ratio scale is in ratio scale we able to multiply and divide, but in interval we only able to subtract and uh, plus plus
Add.
and subtract it. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay. So we say when we say 25%, and when we say some places population growth is 50%, so we say that it's twice of the first place. Like first place population growth is, which one is
So I,
unmuted?
um,
Hello.
yeah,
Yes.
think, wait. Mm, I muted. So what you're saying is like for some,
Like if
mm,
like first place population growth is 25%, and second place population growth is 50%. So we clearly say that population growth of second place is twice of the first place. Am I right? Like if
hmm,
population growth of first place is 25% and second place is 50%, so we clearly say that it's twice of the first place. So we able to multiply or we able to divide. That's why we able to say it's twice of the first place or half of the first place. So how we say that it's interval? Because it's clearly say if we able to multiply and divide, so it's in ratio scale
in
measurement.
this question, the question that was given, hold on.
It seems logical to me also. Like,
Wait,
you
wait, wait,
clearly
wait.
see that District A population is growth rate is twice that of District B's population growth rate.
Okay, in the question, you have different districts and the population growth for each district since 2001 is given.
Ma'am,
Yes, hold on.
can I explain in Hindi?
Um, you can, yeah.
अगर पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ इसमें ये बता रहा है कि अगर वो प्लस में है तो बढ़ रहा है, और अगर माइनस में है तो घट रहा है, और अगर पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ 0 है इसका मतलब पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ कांस्टेंट है, ना कि वो 0 हो गया पॉपुलेशन। वो कांस्टेंट वैल्यू को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है। इसका मतलब ये इंटरवल स्केल में आएगा, ना कि रेशियो स्केल में, क्योंकि वो कांस्टेंट या कोई तो वैल्यू है ना, उसमें कांस्टेंट वैल्यू है।
No, absolute zero means absence of that things there is.
वही चीज तो मैं भी कह रही हूँ कि मतलब कांस्टेंट वैल्यू का मतलब कुछ वैल्यू है वहां पे।
Yeah.
बट रेशियो स्केल में हम लोग मल्टीप्लाई और
But not
डिवाइड भी तो कर
exactly
सकते
zero. But not exactly zero.
हाँ,
Something is.
yes.
Yeah.
Population growth of 0 signifies कि previously 2 years की population match कर रही। It's not telling me about population growth only. It's saying that population of 2 consecutive year is 0 or same.
लेकिन ये बेसिक रूल तो वो है ना, लाइक जीरो के ऊपर हम लोग क्यों लड़ रहे हैं? अगर बेसिक रूल जो है ऑर्डिन रेशियो का कि मल्टीप्लाई और डिवाइड हो सकता है और इंटरवल में मल्टीप्लाई और डिवाइड नहीं हो सकता, तो पॉपुलेशन में तो मल्टीप्लाई और डिवाइड हो रहा है। तो बेसिक रूल पे आए ना, हम लोग जीरो पे क्यों लड़ रहे हैं?
ये वहां पर भी हम कर सकते हैं डेफिनेटली कि भाई डिस्ट्रिक्ट ए की पॉपुलेशन हम कह सकते हैं कि ट्वाई पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ रेट ऑफ डिस्ट्रिक्ट ए इज ट्वाइस ऑफ दैट ऑफ डिस्ट्रिक्ट बी।
हाँ, तो इंटरवल में आया ही नहीं, क्योंकि इंटरवल में तुम प्लस ही माइनस हो सकता है, मल्टीप्लाई हो ही नहीं सकता ना डिवाइड हो सकता।
Where is this question? I mean, where is it given?
It is in mock, I
Mock,
think
one,
one,
Walk
yeah.
which
week
mock?
2.
Yeah.
Mock
Week
week
1
1,
to
2.
2. Yeah.
Okay.
Ma'am, one thing
Has
I
the
want to add,
solution been
like
released?
here population growth is given as negative also. So if we go into ratio scale, we can't have negative in ratio scale. No? So that's why I think it is interval scale.
Hold on. Has the answers been given?
रेशियो में नेगेटिव वैल्यूज पॉसिबल नहीं है।
It is not possible to have negative values in ratio scale.
Yes, ma'am.
This
Answer
is
has been given, and it marks this population growth rate as interval scale of measurement.
Okay.
right. Question number 5.
See, all this mostly depends on how we interpret the question. I mean, how we think the data is, right? Let me see the solution. Wait, what they have given.
मैम
Um,
अमन इज
it will-
राइट, रेशियो स्केल नेगेटिव नहीं होता है।
Okay, let's not spend a lot of time over here. So
Ma'am,
if the
I have a
solution
doubt,
is
ma'am.
given, hold on, solution should be. If the solution is not given there properly, let me go back and check on this. And whoever takes the next session, maybe, or
Ma'am,
discourse you
I
can
have a
take.
question.
Yeah.
I have a
Tell me.
question. So
Yeah.
in marks is a ratio scale of, so, but we can
Next
have
question also.
negative.
Yeah. Question number 6. Please check it.
Question number 6.
Right.
लास्ट टर्म में भी टीए ने यही बताया था कि रेशियो स्केल नेगेटिव नहीं होता है.
And that's fine. Wait.
सेम क्वेश्चन था ये.
This kind of questions are very tricky. I mean, like
I
sometimes
mean,
contradicting the definition
Am I
itself.
audible?
you're audible. Wait,
So,
hold on.
Ma'am,
Tell me which question you want.
ma'am,
so
ratio
I will
scale.
just ask.
Shubham, is it right?
Yeah.
Shubham.
So marks is a ratio scale, but we can have negative marks also.
Again, see, the way you define the marks, it will depend on that. No.
Oh, okay.
Ma'am, but in ratio scale, it can be 0, but it cannot be negative.
I mean, there
Yeah.
the 0 should mean the absolute 0. That's the thing in
Yes,
ratio scale.
but not negative.
Ma'am,
But
because of zero, we
what
can
is the
perform
minimum value?
multiplication, addition, and subtraction in the ratio scale of interval.
Ma'am, in this question of marks, it is given wrong, the ratio scale.
Which question it is?
The one which was posted in the chat box.
Question 6.
Question. There are so many things in the chat. I can't find it. Can you repaste it? Question number 6 from Mock 1-2.
Yeah,
Yes.
mock 1.
In an
These two
exam, there are
questions.
5 multiple select questions. More than one option can be correct. For each question, the student will awarded correct option. 0.2 marks will be deducted for every wrong input.
I can
What is the
have
scale of measurement for final score obtained by student in the exam? Okay. What is wrong in this?
Ma'am, it seems
It's not a ratio scale. It's said it's not a ratio scale, but
Yeah.
I feel it's a ratio scale because we
But
also
I
say
think
twice of marks and वही same वही है कि multiply कर सकते हैं, divide कर सकते हैं. So why is not a
Let's say,
ratio scale?
okay, let's say you are
But there may be negative marks also.
you have
And
minus 0.2
zero.
marks. Let's say someone scores minus 0.2. Then if someone scores wait. If someone scores 0, what will you say in that case?
that 0 has to be absolute, no? Means it means like
But
yes.
see, getting my 0 score, I mean, okay, it is
it
good. I
satisfies.
mean, there is no marks. But someone is also scoring, let's say, minus 0.2, which you're saying should be lesser than 0 marks, right? I mean, if I'm going to arrange the marks in an order, I will put 0 to be greater than minus 0.2.
That only signifies it is an order, but after order is multiplication and division feasible. Like
But then think of it, like giving someone minus 0.2 and giving someone 0 marks. So can you say marks, someone who has gotten 0 marks, will you say it is 0 times minus 0.0 marks? Doesn't look right, no?
but that 0 is absolute now. Means if I see a 0 marks, then that thing is universal for this.
But then you're not able to do the multiplication. You're not able to write every marks
here they
as a
haven't
multiple of.
mentioned that the marks cannot be negative. Like they haven't
It
explicitly
can be,
stated.
right? Yeah, they
That's
have
why
not
it will be
explicitly
negative.
stated. Yeah, that is why negative marking is possible here, because the marks are getting deducted. And if you talk, let's say, take the simple temperature example, right? You know that temperature in 0 degrees Celsius is not something we are saying there is no temperature, right? But if the same temperature you take in Kelvin, there you call it as, I mean, there it is, I mean, 0 degree, 0 Kelvin and 0 Kelvin, right?
Ma'am, this is because
Because there is no temperature below that.
ma'am, this is because of the specific context in the nature of Kelvin scale itself. Because Kelvin scale is an absolute. Only absolute zero of that is valid, not of Celsius scale. Celsius
Hmm.
scale is a relative scale. That's why we say that. But
Right.
having like
Hmm.
0 marks is absolute.
But again, there is something smaller than that you're giving, right?
Yeah, that is, but whenever we have means an absolute zero is means this scale is fixed for this particular paper. When you define this number of question is, if student does not choose to answer any question, then also he is getting zero. But that zero is absolute, means he hasn't scored anything, and that has a significant meaning. In a
But
different
that is just one number. But when you are, let's say you are giving the score for every student in the class, then you might have in the data set, you might have some negative values, right? Some
yeah,
students might
yeah,
get some negative marks. Some student might get zero. Some students will get positive.
yeah,
But
ma'am.
if you look everything as a whole, I mean, there it is not satisfying the criteria.
Could
हेलो
you which
हेलो
particular point?
Yes.
यस मैम। तो मतलब आई मीन इन शॉर्ट हम लोग ये कह सकते हैं कि -2 -3 -1 जितने भी मार्क्स हैं उनकी कोई सिग्निफिकेंस नहीं है मार्क्स में। वो सब जीरो ही माने जाएंगे, तो इसलिए जब उनकी कोई सिग्निफिकेंस नहीं है इसलिए वो रेशियो स्केल में नहीं आएंगे। एम आई राइट?
No, like,
लाइक
see, 0 marks से भी like कम मार्क्स हो रहे हैं ना. I mean, 0 is not the lowest marks that a student can score. Student can score anything below 0. I mean, if you look at the number line, it can go anywhere left to the number 0. There is no bound on that.
I mean,
I mean,
it's
so that
interval
is
scale.
not, it is an interval scale. I mean,
Yeah, if
you
it
can say that, okay, this is the difference in the marks, but you cannot say that this is this marks is this time the other marks and so on.
yeah, yeah, ma'am.
Okay.
But
Okay, let's I
examples
think we
were
discussed,
Ma'am,
tell
but
me.
if
examples
I
were
would
in
summarize
ratio scale.
it,
That's
if,
why we are.
I think
ma'am,
we spent quite a lot of time in week 1.
Yeah, ma'am.
Let's go to
Move.
week 2. I think we have covered everything in week 1 in
ma'am,
discussion itself.
if I would
Ma'am,
be
one last
summarizing it,
question.
Okay,
so
one by one,
if I
please.
would be summarizing it, it's like in the ratio scale, there are like two criterias. One thing, negative values should not be possible, and second thing is absolute zero should be possible. If both these conditions are met, then that means it's a ratio scale. Else, it is not a ratio scale.
Yeah, you can say that, I think.
Thanks.
Ma'am, can you take my last question?
Tell me.
So I have a confusion between what is the difference between zero and absolute zero.
0 and absolute 0. Okay. So, for example, the case in the temperature example that you saw in the lecture. So, there 0 degrees Celsius, even though the number is 0, but that number does not signify, and the temperature, when you're talking about temperature, temperature is something, um, it's, I mean, you're putting that in number, okay? But the unit that is given is degree Celsius. But 0 degrees Celsius does not mean that there is no temperature, okay? But when you talk about 0 Kelvin means there is no marks. I mean, sorry, there is no temperature at 0 Kelvin. Okay. So that is why 0 Kelvin is considered as the absolute zero, because there is no temperature at that. But 0 degrees Celsius is not considered an absolute zero, because there is, even though it's a 0 degrees Celsius, but there is some temperature at it. It's not that there is no temperature at 0 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
All right. Let's move to week 2. So in week 2, the topics that we have is
Ma'am,
frequency table.
I have posted one question related to this cross-sectional data and the time series data. If you may please look into that in the chat itself.
Okay. Temperature.
If we are recording,
Date, Delhi, Chennai.
yeah, date-wise, if we are recording the temperature of two cities. So it's time series because it's recording bit for date-wise. It's in chronological order, but it's also seems cross-sectional because it's recording the same temperature across different cities. So I was a bit confused that what should we consider?
If you just give the table, then I mean it's not very clear, right? But if you say that, okay, I mean these temperature, I mean this data has been collected at the same, you have written on the top, okay, this data has been collected from two different cities, Delhi and Chennai, at a particular time. So, okay, what you are doing here is you are also recording it for different dates also.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, this is also a time series data.
Yeah.
If you don't say that you are recording, when you say a cross-sectional data, I mean, cross-sectional data is like at a particular point of time, you are recording the data from different places. So that data is what you call as cross-sectional. But when you take the data for a particular place, like let's say you want to know like every month, at the starting of every month, what is the temperature of Delhi? So this is like a time series data because over a period of fixed period of time, you are collecting the temperature from a particular state. So such
Yes.
kind of data will be called time series data.
Yeah, that's why, like, I was when I revising, I came to this question, like, what if I was having an additional CTN? So that means each particular row entry will serve as like cross-sectional data. But if I all over look at the table, then it more seems like cross-sectional or time series data. So that came to my mind, and I was not able to decide it.
That will depend
Yeah.
on the question, right? I believe
Question, yeah.
if they're
Let's
asking
say,
like what was the average temperature for the 3 days in Delhi, that would be a time series data. But if they're referring to like on a specific date, that would be a cross-sectional data, right?
yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay, somebody
Can
has
we
asked
move to the
question number
week 2?
3. Yeah, moving to week 2, just one more question. I think Pooja have asked, she has asked. So, okay, the table is given to you, the same table. And the question is, Ujjain is a variable, Mirzapur is a case, district is a case, population is a variable. So, see, in the question, if you read the question, it says the data of 5 districts, the data from 5 districts have been collected. Okay. So the cases would be your district and not the states. I don't know if the state is not taken. Okay. So the first option, which is Ujjain is a variable, that is wrong. Mirzapur is a case, that is true because you are collecting the data from this district. District itself is a case. No, that is not a case. Population is a variable. Yes, that is also right. So option B and D will be correct. Why district is not case even when if we are collecting data from district? No, like if you look at it that way, so this is just the name for all the cases that has been given to you. But the data from which you are collecting is all the districts. Okay, so these district name, the Ujjain, Varanasi, Mirzapur, and so on. I mean, you are collecting data from these districts. But the whole this table itself is not a case. So when you're calling district is a case, so this whole the whole column is not a case. I mean, each of the entries in this column is a case. What is the difference between cross-sectional data and time? I think I just told the difference. So when you say the time series data is the data which you are collecting at a fixed interval of time um, of a particular place. Let's say you're recording the temperature of a room at various uh, times in a day. So that will come as a time series data. But let's say you are recording the temperature of different states at a particular time. Let's say right now I want to know what is the temperature at each of the states in India. So that will come under the cross-sectional data. Okay, 5 and 6 we have explained. I won't go further into that. Let's go to week 2 now. I think we have spent quite a lot of time in week 1 itself. Okay. Let's look at week 2. Okay. So in week 2, we have frequency table. Then we have various charts. And then we have misleading graphs. And then we also have some measures of central tendency. Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, good evening. Ma'am, can I ask some practice question activities?
Hold on. Let me first go through these 4 topics and then we can take questions, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
All right. So what is a frequency table? Right. So whenever you're collecting the data, you have different categories in the data and you want to know like how many times this category has come, right? For example, let's say we have some categories A, B, C, A, D, B, C, A, right? So let's say this is my data set and these are the categories that has appeared in the data set. Now I want to know like how many times the category A. So let's make the column. So we have A, B, C, D. These are the 4 categories that we have identified from the data set. So if you look at the data set in this way, I mean, this is just a small example, but when you when you are working on the data, you will have like so many of the number will be quite high. So it's good to see those things in the form of table. That will give you a more better idea of what is happening and like what are the actual counts. So we can make it in the form of a table. So this we call it as a frequency. So frequency is how many times. So frequency is how many times A has occurred in the data set. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times. We are saying 4 times A has occurred. Now B has occurred 2 times in the data set. Similarly, C has occurred 2 times and D has occurred 1 times. So you can also add all this frequency and it will give you total number of observations. I mean, the total number, yeah, total number of the observation in the data set, right? So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So from the frequency table, we can say, okay, there are 9 observations in my data set, and these are the frequencies of each of the categories that are available. Then the next term that you have is relative frequency. So how is the relative frequency defined? This is just frequency divided by the total number of observations. Right? This is how you define the relative frequency. So when you look at the relative frequency of A, let's say the question is, what is the relative frequency of A? So you will do what the frequency of A divided by the total frequency. Then frequency of B divided by total frequency. Then 2 divided by 9, 1 divided by 9. And all this relative frequency should add up to 1. You can check that also. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this will add up to 1. Also, many a times these relative frequencies will be multiplied by 100, and so it will be given in percentages instead of the decimals. And you should get a total of 100%. Like when you're giving the relative frequencies in percentage, all that should add up to 100%. Or if you're looking at this definition, frequency by total number of observations, all of this should add up to 1. All right. Then next is like, what can be the better way? Like frequency table is one way for you to look at like what is happening there in the data. But instead of making the frequency table, we can represent the data using charts also. That gives you a better picture of like the counts or relative frequencies. So there are two type of charts that has been taught in the class. So one is bar chart and other is pie chart. So first is bar chart and second is pie chart. So in bar chart, what you do is each of the categories that you have, you put it on one axis of the chart and the count of that category onto the other axis of the chart. So there are two type of bar chart that you can make. One is the horizontal bar chart and the other is a vertical bar chart. It's just a matter of orientation, depending on what you are more comfortable with or what you like more. You can just go ahead and do it. So there is no such restriction on whether you should choose a vertical bar chart or a horizontal bar chart. So I will
No,
draw the vertical bar chart. So
ma'am,
let's say
the official book mentions for the bar chart that on one axis it has to be category and on the another it
it has
might
to be
count.
count
No, it can be count or proportion.
relative frequencies. Yeah.
Uh, That is another issue, that bar chart is not most appropriate for the relative frequency plot. That is a pie chart. But it's
Huh.
possible for us to have the relative frequency also. And
On the bar chart.
yes, so
Yes.
Ma'am, if we take a bar chart from ordinal data, is it necessary to preserve the order of the categories on x-axis?
Okay. So when you make a bar chart, I mean, it's not that um you should maintain the order, but if your data is ordinal as in if your data has order, then it is advised to maintain the order in the bar chart.
So,
Okay.
excuse me,
Hmm.
so we cannot use petro chart, I mean, in ordinal data. Am I right?
I mean, Pareto chart, I mean, because we are saying if your data has a order, I mean, if you have a ordinal data, you should maintain the order. So uh, it is uh, it is possible that the way, I mean, let's say if I have excellent, average, poor, okay, all that. So if the day this as order, and I have made the plot in the order, so I can have excellent can have the lesser count, average can be more, and poor maybe much less. So it is possible.
Ma'am, just to
No,
confirm,
so for
when we draw the Pareto chart,
Pareto chart,
does there have to be a specific ordering? Like, should it be ascending or descending, or we can just order it any way we
It
want?
can be both ascending or descending.
Okay, ma'am.
yeah, excuse me, ma'am. I
Hmm.
said for ordinal data, we not use like Pareto chart. We use bar chart only because of the
Uh,
order of the.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
this is an ordinal data, right? So this is not a Pareto chart.
Yeah. I am asking for you for the Pareto chart. Like Pareto chart के अंदर हम लोग ordinal
I
data
think
जो
I
होता है.
lost you.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello. Am
Hello,
I
ma'am.
audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, ma'am. I am saying ordinal data के अंदर हम लोग Pareto chart नहीं use करते because order
Oh,
उसके
sorry.
अंदर matter करता है.
I think I lost you in between. I couldn't hear anything.
हेलो मैम, वो
मैम
कहना
तुमको
चाह
नहीं
रहा
सुन
है
रही
कि
भाई।
हेलो मैम, आई एम
हाँ
ऑडिबल।
हाँ, now you're audible. Can you repeat?
हाँ मैम, वो बोलना चाह रहा है कि पैरेटो चार्ट हम ऑर्डिनल डेटा के लिए यूज कर सकते हैं या नहीं, मतलब सपोज कि अगर ऑर्डर में है ऐसे ऐसे कि एक्सीलेंट ज्यादा है, मतलब काउंट उसका ज्यादा है, उसके बाद गुड का काउंट एक्सीलेंट के बाद है, एंड बैड का उससे उसके बाद है, मतलब सबसे कम है, तो हम उस इन दिस केस हम पैरेटो चार्ट यूज कर सकते हैं ना,
I mean,
ऑर्डिनल।
Pareto chart is nothing but a bar chart, right?
हाँ, मैं
So
वही कह रहा
the
था।
only thing that you should take here
अब
is कि अगर data में order है, then try to stick to the order. That's all.
ओके, मतलब बना सकते हैं, पर ऑर्डर मेंटेन करने के लिए हम यूज नहीं कर सकते, मतलब सब जगह में,
If
राइट।
ordinal data is
नहीं ऐसा
ordered, then
नहीं है
it
मैम।
can be
हाँ,
in a
बस
Pareto
बस
chart.
नहीं,
यही
But
कहा
if
जा रहा है
ordinal
कि
data,
अगर डेटा में ऑर्डर है, then you just maintain the order. That's all.
यस, अगर
ओके ओके
अगर
मैम,
हमें एम्फेसिस किया जाएगा कि आप पेरेटो चार्ट से उसका ग्रोथ दिखाइए, आइदर असेंडिंग और
हाँ
डिसेंडिंग,
then
देन
you
फिर
should make a
ऑर्डर तो
Pareto.
ब्रेक हो
हाँ
सकता है।
then you make the Pareto chart. I mean, again,
यस,
what
सो
the question demands,
इट इट इज ऑल
what is asked for
यस
you to
यस
present.
यस यस, इट इज ऑल डिपेंड अपॉन द क्वेश्चन व्हाट इज आस्क्ड।
Okay, so that was about bar chart. Then you have pie chart. So pie chart is like whenever you are interested in showing the count for the data, then in that case you should go with the bar chart. But when you are interested in knowing the shares or uh, like what is the total like share of each of the category in total, so then in that case pie chart is a better option. So So let's say we had talked about the category A, B, C, and D, right? We have A, B, C, D, and we had found the relative frequencies there. So you have the relative frequency for A is 4/9. So let's make this as 4/9 because this is 4/9. And again, percent you should do. Then B is 2 by 9, C is 2 by 9. Okay, this is not the right graph, but okay. So whatever frequencies, whatever proportions your each category has, this you can represent that uh, share or the proportion using the pie chart. So whenever you're asked to just give the proportion, whenever you're interested in knowing the proportion, pie chart is a better way to go. But when you're just interested in giving the numbers, bar chart is a better option. Then after the charts, we have misleading graphs. So many a times, the way graphs have the way graphs are like plotted, that can also mislead someone. So there are few common things. So one is one way the graph can mislead you is if the area principle is violated. Second is the truncated graph is shown. The graph is truncated. Okay. So what do you mean by like what is like how do you check whether in a graph area principle is violated or not? So what is area principle? So area principle is like the way we define it is like the area that your graph occupies, a part of the graph occupies, should be proportional to the amount of data it represents. So like let's say in a bar chart, you should, the way the area principle can be violated is um, the width of the graph, the width of each of the bar can be different. So that way this can be, the area principle can be violated because the area that it will cover will not correspond to the data that it represent. Then the next way in which the graphs can mislead you is when the graphs are truncated. So when we say graphs are truncated, it means the baseline doesn't start at 0. So maybe the numbers, instead of starting from the y-axis, instead of starting this from 0, um, people may do that. They start directly from let's say 50. Okay. Um, so suppose the category is the actual, let's say A has the frequency, suppose 50, B is let's say 40, C is 20, and D is 30. Suppose I start, let's take this as 30 only. Suppose I start, instead of starting this as 0, I start this as 10. So the graph for A will be, suppose this is the length of the bar A, then B can be here, starting from 20 is better. Something, I mean, whenever the baseline is not 0, such kind of graph is called truncated. Maybe there can be a better example to represent it. But whenever you have to check whether the graph is truncated or not, check whether the baseline starts at 0 or not. Whenever it doesn't, such graphs are what we call as truncated. So there is another example. So what will happen if the graph is truncated is the data may like whatever it shows, it may not be true. I mean, uh, if you plot it properly, you will see that the difference may not be too much, or the difference, it might happen that in the graph you see the difference in the bar length is quite high, but when the data is actually plotted, that difference may not be that high. So that way the plot is lying you, the graph is lying to you, it's misleading you. So that is why we should take care that whenever we are making a truncated graph, I mean, whenever we're making a plot, when we're making a chart where the baseline is not 0, it's advisable to just do a horizontal, I mean, do two slashes here, or you can also, you'd also have looked at this, like a break in the graph. So this will represent that, okay, the graph is, I mean, the baseline is not starting from 0 in that case. I mean, some, you have uh, removed some part from between, right? So this is what you should take care. That was about truncated graph. Then next you have measures of central tendency, which we are going to talk about only the categorical variable. So for categorical variable, you can only define the mode and the median. You cannot define the mean. Mean is only defined for a numerical data. But for here, we are going to talk about only the categorical data, and only mode and median can be defined for the categorical data. So what is mode? So mode is the category with the highest frequency. So this is category with the highest frequency. And median is again the middle value. So for to find the median, you either arrange your data in ascending or descending, and then take the middlemost value. That will be the median. Yeah, I don't think there is any other topic in week 2. There was not much theory. So if you have any question from week 2, maybe you can put your question in the chat, or you can ask me. I see some questions in the chat.
No, thank you.
Ma'am, if the y-axis break is given, then it is not truncated graph, right?
Yeah, this is not truncated graph. I mean, whenever the baseline doesn't start from 0, it is advisable to do a y-axis break, so that the people who are looking at the charts, it's clear to them. Okay, I mean, this is what I mean. The baseline, even though that starts from 0, but some numbers have been removed from the.
Yes, okay.
Madam, actually, week 2,
Hmm.
in AQ 2.5,
Okay.
there is a sixth question. So we are not covering mean in this entire lecture. in week
Correct.
2 lecture.
Correct.
But there is a question regarding the mean here, which
Okay.
is misleading. There is no clue that what is actually this question itself, because we never discussed in the past about the mean, and
Okay.
all of a sudden this question came in. I think it's completely irrelevant in the week 2 EQ
Week
2.5.
week 2, week 2.5, right?
2.5 sixth question statement.
Question number 6. Mean is yeah, I don't think you have been introduced to mean in this
In this
chapter,
entire
in
week,
this week.
actually.
Yeah, I think this question should be moved to week 3.
Could you
I
please
will pass
take care
it
of to
down.
talk
Yeah,
to
yeah. I
support
will
team?
pass it on and we'll get it changed to week 3. Moved it to week 3.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I have a doubt. Can I ask?
Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, I post my question in the chat.
You posted now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. There's. Okay, what's your name?
Ma'am, Pranjali.
Pranjali. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Good,
for
good,
ordinal
good.
data,
Bad, average, bad, bad, average, average. What is median? Tell me what for ordinal data?
ma'am, it is necessary to sort the data in a ascending order, or
Yes.
ma'am, for
For median, we
this
can.
data also.
Yes, because you know that there is an order in good, bad, average, no?
But ma'am, in this data, median is a middle value or
So you have how many observations? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Middle value. Like you sort the data in either arranging or descending order. And then take the 5th observation. That will be your median.
ma'am, if it is a even and my median is average and
You
average
can
and
take
put.
any of it. I mean, it doesn't matter which one you take. But the thing is that you should take care that when you are sorting the data, I mean, whenever you're finding the mean, the data you should first arrange in ascending or descending, and then pick the middle. If you have the even numbers, then pick the 2 middlemost observations. And if the categories are different, you can take any of them as the median.
Okay, ma'am. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I have posted the extension of that previous thought that we discussed on the population growth. Like population growth is a derived variable. It's does not signify itself without the values of the population corresponding populations. So I try to explore like is it how should we decode it like based on the definition. If you could please look into the chat, I have posted it.
Okay, let me go. Can you repost that? I think there are so many charts.
The latest diagram, ma'am, in the chat.
The latest diagram. Okay. Okay, yeah.
I was trying to explore like if it's a ratio or interval, but here comes another issue that even addition is not making sense. Like if I want to collectively look at what's the collective population growth rate of district A and district B, so it's not same as adding the individual population growth rates. It has to be come from the values of this population of the year populations, but these values are also not matching. So that means that even addition directly adding the population growth rate is also not making sense here.
Okay, you're saying 0.1, 0.09 is not equal to 0.095. What is that?
Point
What
one,
is
0.09, 0.09 are the population growth rate for District A and District B. Now I
correct?
have to see that what's the collective population growth rate for population for both the districts. Yeah, if an addition would have been a valid operation for population growth rate, then the simple result of adding them should have resulted us in the same population this fraction of that 23 minus 21 divided by 21.
Okay, from there you're taking. Okay.
Yeah, but that they are two different values altogether. So that means addition is also not a valid thing for this derived variable.
How did you get 0.095?
0.095 is just 1 by 11, na?
Or is it okay? But why are you doing 1 by 11?
Ma'am, I try to see that what's the population growth between the two consecutive years.
1 by 11 is 0.090. It's not 0.095.
Just a sec.
I'm not able
One,
to figure out what is 0.095. Yeah.
Then here it is 0 and 5, I think 23 minus 21 divided by 21.
yeah, ma'am, that's 2
Acha.
divided by 21.
Okay, okay.
Because that's the collective population growth rate of both the districts, no? That might be itself to the nature of the population growth rate. It is not an independent entity, it's a derived entity. You're not
Uh,
noticing, you're not recording it from something else, but you're deriving it. So it's like of a description variable.
right, right.
But if I
Mm.
am not able to make a sense of addition also, then that clearly signifies that I should not consider population growth rate itself as a variable
No,
because
I
it's
mean, it is a variable. I mean, that is fine.
means interval means that
Hmm.
have an interval scale because addition should make sense, subtraction should make sense.
Hmm. Okay. Let us relook into this question. Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
Maybe we can come up with a better explanation for this question.
Ma'am, for the sixth
Okay.
question also, I put a more thought. Like I thought, like if I make two correct questions and three wrong question, then also I'm getting a zero. But if I decide to attempt none of the question, then also I'm getting zero. So zero has two different significances in that question. That's why we can definitely
But
say it's not a ratio.
right. I mean, unless something is true for all the cases, you cannot say that is true.
Yeah, so that violates the ratio scale, but it's numerical variable, so I will would have selected interval.
Hmm.
That came the bit more thought, but on this
Yeah.
question instead.
Let us relook into this question, and maybe if the solution is already given, the solution document, maybe we can add it there.
Okay, thanks, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can we
Okay.
discuss it in the next section of week 3 and week 4?
Okay, I will convey that whoever is going to take, and we can discuss.
Thanks.
Okay. Anyone has doubt from week 2? Because there's not much theory to discuss in week 2. Can you please
Ma'am,
explain?
hello,
Huh,
ma'am.
tell me.
Area and population over here in the question was not this question, the previous one, which we had discussed of the cities, Ujjain and all.
The area what? Area?
Area and population, they are
Huh?
ratio scale, right?
Area and population.
Yeah. In the previous questions that we discussed.
I didn't see the area and population. Mm, was
It is given area and population.
oh wait, let me open
Yeah, area and population are
area and population. Yeah.
continuous numerical variable and they are ratio scale. Because zero means it's nothing. No one lives in
Zero,
the district.
So what is the doubt in area and population?
ma'am, it is ratio scale. I mean, because zero absolute value of zero doesn't exist in that, right?
Yeah, it will be a ratio scale. I mean, it is a numerical variable and it will be a ratio scale.
But absolute zero won't exist in it. So
I mean, you're starting from zero, no? I mean, if I'm saying zero population, I mean, there is no population there.
yeah, but the ideal in population of city we are saying, so zero won't be possible in it, right?
ಯಾರ್ದು ಸುನೀಲ್ದಾ எடுத்து வை
No, tell me again.
பார்க்கலாம்
Why is zero not possible?
నెక్స్ట్ మంత్లో தெரிஞ்சிடும்
In
I think
population,
someone,
zero
can you
won't be
keep your
possible.
mute?
Population of any city.
Um, okay, can you unmute yourself again and speak? I think someone
Yeah, I am
is
saying that
talking.
population of any city that we are observing zero won't be possible in it, right?
Yeah, because you're asking about the growth rate, right? This is you're saying.
Not the growth rate, ma'am, the population column. The
No,
population column,
why it cannot be, I mean, why cannot we say that it can be zero? I mean, I can say it is zero, no? And not it is not zero in this. I am
no,
definitely not zero in this table.
yeah, so ratio scale would also be incorrect, right?
Why? Why it should be incorrect? I mean, it will start always from zero, right? I mean, uh, when you are saying a population of zero means there is no population. I mean, there is that means zero population there. That zero is absolute zero.
Yes, ma'am, I got that, but in population, in this example of population and area in kilometer square,
Okay.
we cannot have absolute zero in this question, this question,
I
the
mean,
data
it
point.
is not specifically mentioned that, I mean, it's not like zero should be given in the data set.
Because the question over here choose the incorrect options.
Or
Okay,
choose the incorrect option.
yeah, in that
Where
if you
is it?
see area has a ratio scale of
Oh,
measurement.
wait. Choose the incorrect option. Okay.
Okay, so area
So
has a
we should,
ratio.
that is true. So you should not choose that option. Okay. Then population growth that we discussed a lot. Leave it. Number of uh, number of villages has an interval scale of measurement, and population has a ratio scale of measurement. So only this third option is incorrect. So that is what has been marked.
Okay, and population and area won't be choose that also, because
Yeah,
over here
because they are correct, right?
that only, ma'am, in this example the absolute zero for that won't exist, right? So that's the doubt I'm
No,
having.
like when
Absolute
you say won't exist, what do you mean it won't exist?
means area in kilometers, there won't be absolute zero for it, right?
No, why can you not say 0 kilometer? I mean,
But in this context, we are looking at
no, what
city,
is the context here?
the districts. There won't be
Okay.
any district for 0 kilometer.
I mean, that is a hypothetical case, right? I mean, eh, if forget the context here, but we are talking about area, right? I'm looking at the variable area in kilometer square. If I think of the variable as area, yes, my area can be zero. Yes, my population can be zero.
And that means it forms a line.
That means what?
It forms a line.
It forms a line. Why
Yeah,
should form? What do you mean
like
it forms a line?
it forms a line means there is no area.
No, you can say a dot. That would make more sense.
Dot.
Just a dot.
Yeah. Hmm. Dot or line also.
Again, I mean anything. I mean, but you can say zero, right? I mean, you can say if you don't look at the district or what the question is asked. I'm just looking at the variable name as area. Okay. So if someone asks me area, I can say area can start from 0, right? Area can be 0. If I look at just the population as a variable, yes, I can say it will start from 0. It can be 0.
Okay.
Yeah. So as a variable, it is asked what are their scales of measurement. Okay.
So, ma'am, I extended the same thought. Like when it comes to the operation of addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, this kind of boundaries that we decided to check this scale of measurement becomes a bit blurry and sometimes misleading when we are dealing with derived variables.
Derived variables means?
Like here, population growth. Population growth is
Okay.
not derived from the public or someone. It's derived from the data itself.
Okay.
So, in that case, like sometimes it might follow interval scale, sometimes it might not. But it's
Yeah,
clear.
population growth. Let us relook and we'll get back on this. This is weekly mock 1-2. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, for a categorical variable, median is only valid for ordinal data.
Yes, only for ordinal data. You cannot find the median for a nominal data because there is no order in that.
Okay. Madam, what if we get the number of observations as even?
Then you can pick any two pick any two middle most observation. That would work.
Okay, any of the two middle ones, right?
Yeah, yes.
The point to remember here is, if I remember correctly, that's there can be only one medium value, and the questions that we actually solved usually have the same values at the both these places.
What?
Ma'am, I was saying that median can only be one in the data set.
Yeah,
but
it can only be one.
But from the questions that I observed now, both the middle values were bearing the same values. So the
Okay.
doubt never came that which value should I choose from the two.
Okay.
No, in the categorical data, actually, median comes in with n and n plus 1 also, right? In case of this
Yeah, it comes.
odd series.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Yes. Yes, Tisha, tell me.
Ma'am, ma'am, can you please explain more question in 8?
In 8.
Ma'am, more question.
More questions on?
Mock question, week
Mock
1.
question. Mock
Yes.
question. I think the session would have happened for mock 1-2.
Ma'am, the screen is not visible. Is it with everyone or just me?
Yeah, I'm not sharing anything like.
That's okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay. No, what I'm saying is mock for 1 to the session would have happened, so I will not take that for now. Whenever the another mock happens, maybe you can ask in that.
Okay, ma'am. Yesterday, deadline was passed.
It's okay. Some session would have happened for mock 1, 2, I guess, earlier. Just check in the calendar.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, then. That was all for week 1 and 2. Just the population growth part, let us go back and check, and more detailed explanation will provide in the solution document itself. Okay, then the next mock, not mock, the next session is on Thursday, Wednesday, I guess. Yeah. So revision session for week 3, 4 is on Wednesday. So do join the session. We'll meet there. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you for joining. All the best for your exams. Farewell.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
Hello? Hello? Someone is there? Hello? No response. Hi, hello? Is some inter Is there any instructor? Hello?